to say, this, I want you to pay attention to this. I am the Lord your God. You shall love the alien as yourself. When Jesus quotes Leviticus 19, he's not talking about people from outer space. He's talking about foreigners, strangers, people of different racial and ethnic backgrounds. He's talking explicitly about loving people who are different and treating them as we would want to be treated. So as part of our series today,
oh, who are the people in your neighborhood, in your neighborhood, in your neighborhood? Oh, who are the people in your neighborhood? The people that you meet while you're walking down the street. They're the people that you meet each day.
I want to welcome among us a recent Northview graduate, Sara Lee, who has just returned from spending the summer with family in Korea. Sara, as you will recognize her from maybe Christmas Eve and even earlier in the service, is a gifted violinist who has played with us before, and you got to hear her even before this in the service. So welcome, Sara. We are glad that you are here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So, Sara, would you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your faith background, maybe a little bit about your travels this summer, or what it was like to be with your family in Korea, whatever you'd say.
Hi, my name is Sara. I am going to the University of Toledo majoring in marketing, and I have went here for preschool, so it's very, very cool to be back here. So my trip in Korea, I was there for 2 months, so it was very long, but it felt so short. It felt like a fever dream, but it was so cool meeting my family because I haven't been to Korea in like 7 years. So they saw me since I was like little, and then now suddenly I'm like taller and like now more feminine, and they're like, what? like what? Who is this lady here? You know, type of thing. So we kind of had a lot of talking about how I like grew up in the U.S. and how we're like, we missed you so much. Like you should come here more often, you know. And I traveled all around Korea. It was really pretty. It was a very different culture too. So I'm glad that I got to be speaking here today, talking about my experiences there versus here and cultural differences that I really saw between that. And my faith, I have been to church since I was little. I usually go to Asian churches. There are a couple of Asian churches around here. There's the one I'm going to currently is the one next to Costco. I describe it like that, and they automatically no. They're like, oh, I think I've seen a church sign over there. But yeah, that's the church I go to, and I don't know how to really explain this, but you know, your parents take you to church ever since you're little, right? And they're like, you know, believe Jesus, come on, just wake up, you know, type of thing. But now that I'm like a little older, I kind of understand the perspective of where they're trying to encourage us to go through the path of like learning about Jesus and about the Bible. And I went to so many vacation Bible school camps. This is a lot here too. And it was so much fun. I met so many new people, and I think it really brings like new light into my life. Definitely, it's like very cliche, but all the people that I meet and all of the stories that I hear and all the experiences and everything, I just think it was a lot of like bonding, like where I really got to meet really good friends that I still talk to today. And it's really cool seeing how we grew up here, like sitting in these chairs, like dancing and stuff like that. But now we're off to college and we're starting a new life, which is really crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So you're from an immigrant family.
Yes.
What's it like in the U.S.? And when you went back to Korea, what was it like going back?
So I really thought about this when I was there. It was very different. I thought I knew everything about Korean culture because I speak Korean at home. I literally keep up with the Korean news and everything, you know. But the crazy thing is, I don't know everything, and it's like I'm American. I know how to speak, I know how to read and write, but I was born here. I'm American, but it made me think. When you guys see me up here, and I'm talking about my culture, you guys see me like, oh, she's an immigrant, she's Asian, right? When I go to Korea, they look at me with these big eyes, like, that girl's American. What? Like, they don't know how to approach me or how to talk to me. So it made me think, wow, I go back to my home country, but they don't accept me like I'm Korean. They accept me as my American version of myself. So when I'm here, I'm Asian. Yeah, you see me as Asian, like I get accepted as an Asian person here. And it's very foreign. I get treated as foreign here and foreign in Korea too. So I thought that was very interesting to the perspective of, wow, I thought I belonged here, but I guess I don't. Then where do I really belong? So it made me really think about like my identity and like where I lie in these lines and how people look at me and how they perceive me really.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's, we've just emerged from a pandemic, and there was a lot of fear about Asia during the pandemic.
Yeah.
What was it like for you to be an Asian American during the midst of that?
During the pandemic, it was very like, I was practically home all day, but I've been like scrolling, on TikTok or like Instagram, and I see all of these Asian American hate crimes where they're dying, like they're getting killed and they're getting harassed on the streets and they're getting injured. And me living in the Sylvania community, that wouldn't happen. But if I go to New York or somewhere in a big city, that could happen where I could be practically like injured or murdered or stuff like that. And it really made me scared for my family in America, where I thought about my grandma. She lives in New Jersey, so it's more of a city area where she lives. I was really I was almost praying like every day. I hope nothing happens to her because she's this tall. She's tiny. She's so tiny. So if someone scoops her up and throws her, they can. So, but seriously, I was like, I really, really hope that my family's doing okay in every area, because it was really a shock where I never even thought of that we would be blamed, but we were also put into the category of being Chinese. So no matter if we look Asian, we're just automatically Chinese. So now they're saying the C word and go back to your own country, the stuff where I thought you only heard in movies, but no, I heard that all throughout my childhood, which was kind of crazy. My favorite question is, do you eat dogs? That's my favorite question, and when I was little, I didn't know how to really respond to that because it's very foreign, and I don't have no idea what they're talking about. And they're saying that I look different and that I have small eyes and that you're pretty for an Asian. That type of comment. So, it's very I grew up here. I was born in Toledo Hospital, I speak English. I've been in America for all my life. But it really made me wonder because of the way I look and that is the way I'm treated because of the way I look. Yeah, and because of maybe a different culture, but to be honest, I'm American. You can't take that away from me. I'm American. I grew up here. So, yeah, I thought it was very interesting seeing all of those things happening around.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for being honest with us and telling us about your experience. So who do you see that maybe we don't see?
So, as I was talking about let me tell you a little bit about the Asian culture, of Korean culture. So, I have an older brother, and wow, the thing of males, first child male, everything goes to them. Well, my dad's a late child, so my grandma and grandpa, they're very old-time thinking, so they were so happy when they got to see my brother. And then when I came, it was, oh, Sarah's so pretty, just pretty, type of thing where they're not much expecting of me, where they tell my brother to become a doctor, and because I completely understand where they're coming from. It's not that they're trying to ground hard on him, and he faced the Japanese war, Japanese-Korean War and everything, so he wants us to be stable, and especially my brother is the head of the house. That's what it's it comes down to become. So for me, I had a lot of, Sarah's so pretty. What's Danny doing? What? Oh, what is he doing? What is he up to now? Oh, why didn't he come to church? Oh, where is he going to school? Everything was about him. So my life was circled around my brother. And the sad part is where I feel so frustrated, but I couldn't say anything to anyone because I didn't want to make a ruckus or anything. So I stayed silent in my closet, just maybe if I'm having a hard time, just go cry in my closet and just come out and be like, I'm pretty Sarah, type of thing, where you have to have that, two-faced, where you have to kind of hide your insides because you can't really show your feelings to your family because you don't want to give them hardship, So dealing through that, I came in really close contact with myself, where I got a lot of alone time by myself. So I started thinking, I don't have to be just like Sarah, the second child Sarah. I'm not my brother's little sister. Yeah, some people don't even know my name. They know me as my brother's little sister. So yeah, I had a pretty fun time walking around. They're like, oh, brother's little sister, hi, type of thing. So I wanted to create my own identity. And it was challenging because I was already facing an identity crisis with, am I American or am I Asian? So I'm at school, I'm so shocked. I watched these movies about Asian Americans and what they faced, and you think it's an over-exaggeration, but it's not. Where I sit on the lunch table, and I open my food, and it's fried rice. You guys know fried rice, right? And people look at me and be like, what is that? What are you eating? That smells kind of weird. Automatically insecure. Automatically. So I stand up, throw it away, act like I'm eating, throw it away, and then tell my mom that I had a delicious meal. But maybe a few days after, I say, hey, Mom, can I start buying school lunches? Can you give me money so I can buy school lunches? And I think she kind of knew where it kind of came from. So she let me buy school lunches. But thing after thing after thing, it's elementary school. This was in elementary school. And I don't know how these kids know the C word and go back to your own country. How are they knowing how to say these words? Do they know even the meaning of it? So me in elementary school, I've been hearing this, and I thought it was normal. I would laugh along with them and be like, yeah, I'm Asian, because I I didn't understand. I really I was uncomfortable, but I couldn't show that. I had to fit in. No matter what I did, I need to fit in, right? So, and I felt very lonely because I was the Asian best friend. That's what they called me, the Asian best friend. So I would really go by that title. And I would actually start making jokes myself because I really wanted to fit in. And after things got too much, where I had to I had to conceal everything. I had to hold it within because I can't tell my parents. They're gonna be going ruckus mad and going into school and But I didn't want them. I wanted to think that I was independent, that I could be as independent as my brother. So I told my teacher about what was happening, and what was very surprising is she looked at me and she said, "You and your group of friends are the cattiest group I've ever seen. If you have a problem, go to the principal's office." Yeah, so I went to the principal's office, and I was like, so this is happening, and I just want to move my seat away from that group of kids. The answer I heard was, "Oh, that's very unfortunate." Nothing happened. Nothing. And, by this time I should go to my parents, right? But I was too scared. I didn't want them to worry about anything, so I kept everything concealed. But I didn't know what to do at all. So as I was growing up, I gave up on myself, where I said, you know what, let's die early. There's nothing wrong with that, I just give up. There's nothing you can really do, because no matter how hard I try, nothing's gonna work out. I'm never gonna be accepted for me. I don't have a name. I'm just a sister. But as I keep thinking in my closet and keep thinking, I was enraged. I was so mad at myself for letting me be treated like this. Because what did I do so wrong for me to be hearing this and for me to be not having, why am I not allowed to have my own identity, right? So I want to be very expressive. I want to do what I really want to do. So I picked up the violin, and I was like, okay, my brother played since he was 3, so no way am I going to be able to be, as good as him. But I will be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
So I picked up the violin, and I started practicing. And everything was, you can't show people that you're, insecure and that you're, So I had to really make it seem like I was really into music. I wasn't, though. It was because I wanted to express myself in some way. So me practicing, I would practice probably 8 hours a day, where I wake up in the morning, practice for 3 hours, and then I take a break because my shoulder's hurting, because my jaw is cracking, because my shoulder is almost to the point of where it feels like I'm dislocated it. It feels like I dislocated it, but I have to keep going because I need to be as good as to the point where I can express myself the very best. So I did that starting 6th grade till 12th grade. And through music, I didn't do it because I liked it. I did it for me, to express myself, but it's crazy because as I go through with music, the people that I meet was very amazing. And they taught me so much about myself, which leads into the next question that you're going to ask me.
Sure.
So when I first walked in orchestra, it was more of like a, hey, like, you know, I follow the same path as my brother, so they're obviously going to know my brother. So no matter what criticism I heard of, you're never going to be good enough. You're not going to, you know, you're Asian, so aren't you supposed to be good? Type of thing. After I actually got decent at the violin, now the answer becomes, you're Asian, so that's appropriate. That's what's supposed to happen. It was very sad because all those hard times practicing, crying, making sure, those blood, sweat, and tears of literally me trying my hardest not like to get better at the violin and to be the best. But it was crazy because now that it comes down to this, now that I'm finally found myself, I'm still not accepted. But I learned from this that I don't need to be. I just keep living as I am doing because I met so many wonderful people through this. Like, I wouldn't have met Mr. Foster without me, we met together, so he's seen my ups and downs and every obstacle I faced in high school. And he helped me through it. And he was accompanying. He's like, Sarah, you want to try that again? I'm like, yeah. So the people that I meet I don't even know how to describe it, where they actually accepted me and helped me, held my hand and guided me through everything. And while I was doing this, now I got into volunteering, which I volunteered at the Cherry Street Mission. I go to our local nursing homes around, and I went there and played. And during COVID, I sent them videos, or like bringing together a bunch of my music friends. We're like, hey, let's play this. Like, you know, these 80s songs or 70s songs that they'll probably recognize. But the response that I got from doing this was nothing like I expected. You just go and you play, right? And they'll be like, oh, cute kids, just playing, right? No. I walked in, and when I finished playing, they looked at me, and I looked at them. Their eyes had tears inside.
Yeah.
And they were crying, and with their frail legs, they were walking up to me, holding my hand, saying, thank you so much for coming. When can you come next? And I was baffled because something like a hymnal or some Isn't She Lovely or like a Can't Help Falling in Love, it takes barely any time to put together. You just listen and you play type of thing, and you gather a group of your friends, there's a piano jamming out, we're like, oh, this is cool to do this. This is nothing. Like, I go there and I just play, and they're making it seem like it's such a tremendous amount of thing that I did for them, but it's not. I just give up maybe an hour of my Saturday and I go. So what is going on, you know? And I overhear a lot of things when they come and talk to me and when they're talking amongst themselves. I heard, I have a daughter that goes to Carnegie Hall, been to Carnegie Hall, and Or if I asked her to come play, she would have said no. This is, why would I play here? There's no reason to. And that's when I realized, wow, rather than thinking about myself as one person and like I'm the main character, why don't I focus more around the people that do need some sort of comfort, and some of those people haven't seen their family in so long, and the stories that I hear, it's crazy. I didn't even realize how much of an impact just grabbing my violin, playing a little song would mean to them.
That's the way you love your neighbor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sara. One last question. Where is hope?
I find hope in my family. In my family, and through the bonds of people that I meet through church. I thought it was crazy. When I went to Korea, my uncle's a pastor, and he's a youth pastor. So I went to one of those getaways where you stay the night and you know. I still contact them. Isn't that crazy? I'm halfway across the world and I still contact them, and they really accepted me. And in those short days that I met them, it was amazing. Where the kind of friendship and the bonds that I made with the adults, the teachers, and the kids. And even in music, I met Mr. Foster, I met my private teacher. Like through here, I got to meet all of you guys and the pastor. And I think these bonds are so special that I feel like it's the most important thing you'll ever need is the people that you meet and the bonds and the friendships that you make with one another.
Thank you. You have a piece of music to share?
Yes. This piece is, so I'm playing two pieces combined. One of them is All the Way My Savior Leads Me. Sorry, I know the Korean title, but I don't know the English. And this is the piece that my grandpa picked out that he wanted me to play here. And then the next piece is something that I want to play for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Thank you, Sarah, so much for sharing your story and your gift with us this morning. And if you would like to make an offering to help support and sustain our mission of building life-changing relationships through and with God, you can place your offering in the basket in the table on the back before you leave. For those of you online, you can click on the Giving tab and follow the links through our website.